Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
We both have PlayStation 5s now, which seems crazy, especially with how random it seems that people are finding them and how hard it seems to get them. So
Yeah.
we both ended up with them. So of course the first thing we did is turn that thing on and loaded up Astro's PlayRoom, the pinnacle of next gen.
It's good shit. It's good shit.
So good. So I don't know about you, but this was one of those things where in my mind, like, I absolutely love Astrobot Rescue Mission, one of the best PlayStation 4 games, period, not even going to limit it to VR. And this was one of those things where it's like, okay, you know what, I'll give it a shot. Like, Astrobot was really cool, but it's just the pack-in thing. It's just going to be like, oh yeah, you can hit the controller buttons, and it'll be really cool. I was downloading Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I think that little boop popped up, and I was like, oh man, that's downloaded now? I should probably stop playing Astro. And then just kept playing for about another half hour because it was so much fun playing this little platformer that does so many cool things that it's incredible what this does. It's such a good game for just being quote unquote the tacked on, like, oh yeah, here, try out the controller game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I had a similar experience, but mine was, instead of booping Miles Morales, it was like boop Demon Souls, and I was like, I don't know if I'm emotionally ready to swap from Astrobot to Demon Souls.
Those are two very different ranges.
I love me a good Souls game, but it's just like there's just something so cheery and happy and nostalgic about Astrobot. It's just like, kind of just want to hang around here a little bit more. I end up playing I played like a lot of Astro. I think I finished Astrobot before I even touched Demon Souls, or like got really really close. Like did a lot of Astrobot. No, I love Astrobot. I know we've said in the past we both really like the rescue mission. The one thing I was really worried about Astrobot going into this, besides being a packing game, I was wondering if the world and stuff worked outside of VR, because I wasn't sure how much of my love of Astrobot was because of just the VR aspect of it. And then I found it's like, oh, well, no, not really. Actually, the world of Astrobot is kind of fun. This one, they went just like super hard nostalgia, but I just think the attitude of Astrobot is very fun. It's like very lighthearted. It's a little like 90s mascot attitude, like a little bit.
Oh, so much.
But yeah, no, I was just surprised that I think that was my biggest fear, was just like, am I gonna like this as much outside the VR? Obviously, Astrobot Rescue Mission is like it's just a better game. It just is like, you can't. But this one is like a good enough sequel / not sequel, but whatever it is, continuation, I guess. That it was like, to me, it excelled in so many other ways that Astrobot Rescue Mission didn't necessarily. That I think it was like just good in its own right.
Yeah, and I think just like what this game is, where you're just like playing through PlayStation stuff, I guess. Not necessarily get into super specifics, because as you go through the kind of the way that it plays out and the specifics of it are kind of cool. But just like you walk into the first area and it's like SSD highway, GPU force. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? This is hilarious and great. And just jumping into each world and just seeing all the cool PlayStation nods were so good. And there were so many like just cool little random things, because you collect different PlayStation-y things. And then also if you haven't played Astrobot, there's always little other robots around you too doing weird little things, and just seeing them reenact some different PlayStation stuff was like my favorite part. Is you just come to another thing and like, oh, what are they doing over there? And you start laughing because you're like, oh, I see what they're doing right now. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really cool, because I think the way the game is contextualized, which is kind of fun how that plays into it. The way it's contextualized is that these robots live inside your PS5, and they live in these different worlds that are like different, essentially, features of PS5. Where you have your GPU world, you have your SSD world, you have your memory, like RAM world, which is the walk down memory lane. It's like PlayStation 1 centric, which is really fun. I don't remember what the last one was.
I can't either.
But either way, the thing that's like the way they contextualize having all of these like little vignettes of characters doing like little PlayStation-y things is that they are recording it. So in your PS5, you are technically playing a recording of Astrobots acting out the game.
Yep.
And I love the context of that. I think it's just like so fun that there's like the little Astrobots who are like, in order for you to play Uncharted 4, these Astrobots need to reenact Uncharted 4, which is just, it was so good. I love that stuff.
Yeah. And it's one of those games where it's like, it's just fun. And I think that's what comes across with this. There's not a single second of this game that's serious. It's not overly challenging. It's just, let's sit down, have a good time. You have a PlayStation 5. Let's celebrate some PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. I was surprised. I was definitely surprised with like a lot of the nods that they had. It's like, first of all, like there was so many nods. Yeah. And there was so many games. I was like, I can't believe they're doing that game. I can't believe they're doing that game. They had like a lot of like heavy hitter PlayStation. Like I think all the major first parties were there.
I think so.
But but there's sometimes like there'd be like a really one that's like, oh, that's surprising, or there'd be ones that are like kind of hidden where people say like, oh, did you know this one was there? I was like, oh, I didn't see that one. I'm gonna run over and see that one. Yeah. I think my favorite I guess what my favorite call out was, I think, Soul Reaver. That one I was like, what the hell? I can't believe they did Soul Reaver.
I didn't even catch that one because there were a couple that I was like, I don't even know what you're going for right now. I know you're doing something, but I don't know what this is. Sure.
There was a little frustration with me, like I know I can figure this out. Okay, you are doing...
You have a sword.
Sword, yeah.
And you've got a funny hat. And
and there's another Astrobot over here doing something that looks like an enemy of... Okay, are you doing... Yeah. I feel like I should have got a trophy because I think there was one I didn't get. And that was the one there was one I had to Google because like, I don't know what's going on here. But yeah.
you get like a personal and life trophy for that, not even in the game. It's just like you know more about PlayStation than everybody else. Congratulations.
I feel like they should have had a little they should have, but I was just like, I feel like I should have gotten like a silver trophy for knowing all these references.
every time you pop up to one, it gives you a multiple choice response of like, pick what game we're doing right now.
Exactly.
If you get them all right, you're good.
You get them all right, get a trophy sort of thing. Yeah.
But I think it speaks to this game's real strength that I don't even know how far we're into this, a few minutes into this, and we haven't even talked about the point of this, which is to show off the controller, the DualSense.
Oh, yeah, sure, whatever.
But, like, because in my mind, you look at the PlayStation 5, and you're like, it's not the load times, great, load times, whoa, 3D audio, cool, whatever. They seem like these small little pieces.
I don't know, those are both extremely cool, but continue.
I agree, but like 6 months ago, if you told me the big thing for PlayStation was quick load times and 3D audio, you know what I mean? Yeah. Versus like going back a year, or not a year, but like a decade when we're talking about PlayStation 4 and like those innovations, it's like that's it.
Sure.
That controller is a game changer. Holy crap.
It's interesting. I kind of liked it. I didn't have a huge. I wasn't huge. Yeah. I'm curious. Now you go first because I'm curious.
So. Just even in the stupid little vending machine game where you just you have to pull the trigger, so they're kind of loose, and then you hit that spot middle down to like pull the lever is just such a cool feeling, and then you kind of squeeze it and you can kind of slowly see the cracks happening, and then all the little like mini games with like the vehicles and stuff where like they're your thrusters and everything, just the feeling of those having a little bit more tension is just such a cool feeling. And then I played through Spider-Man as well, was the other game I played through.
Oh,
and sure. Then I jumped into Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is PS4 and doesn't have any of the haptics or anything. It sucks going back to those PlayStation 4 games. Like, because in my mind, I'm like instantly like, this trigger's so loose. Like, it's just a button. This sucks. Like, I should be like holding this sucker down and feeling some tension when I'm charging this move up. Like, I should be having these things going on. So I just feel like as you're doing it, it just feels so cool the way that those triggers like adjust when you're the stupid little spring thing that drove me insane. That was probably my least favorite part of the whole game. It's just like feeling that tension go down and feeling it release. It's just such a cool feeling when you're using it.
See, those actually the one I like the most is actually I didn't like the tension one so much because the tension, like the ones where I was like pulling back the bow, I was thinking it's like, do I like? I mean, this feels like pulling back a little bit. Do I like this or not? The one I actually really like that I was not expecting at all is there's a game where you're a monkey that's climbing.
Oh yeah.
And what it does is there's like they actually put like a stopping point on the trigger like halfway down, like you push it and it's almost like a stopping point and you kind of like click through it.
Yeah.
Like that I really, really liked. I like when you clicked through things. Like I thought that felt like really good. Like there's like different levels of clicking through a thing. I really like that. I didn't like the bow. I didn't like the solid tension on it because it was hard to tell like when I'd finally sprung it in. But I like the ones where there's kind of like, okay, you need to add this much tension to click. Those are the ones I like the most. I always thought those felt really, really good. What was the other one I really liked? Shoot, the monkey one was the one I did think I remember the most. The clicking. Oh, I know. There's a part where you get a gun that shoots a lot of bullets.
Oh yeah.
And then like you're just holding on the trigger and it's like I just platinum it, so I had to go through and do some of the replay some sections, as you're holding it down, you're never holding it all the way down because it's shaking so much when it's shooting in your hand.
Yeah.
Like I really like that. I think it's cool. I think it has I think it definitely has potential. I'm worried that sometimes people do. At the bow thing was just the thing that really turned me off, because that was the thing that was kind of sold. I was like, oh, the bow is gonna be so much fun. I was like, I don't know if I like the tension on this bow, to be honest. And there's
Just
a few
waiting
other
for
things.
Horizon.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know if I want a whole game where that's like the thing is like the tension on the bow. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
but it was cool. I really like that. Actually, I think I think more than that, I think I enjoyed the multi-point rumble. I don't know what the hell they're calling that.
I don't. The HD rumble is what it's called on the Switch, but just where you kind of feel the different positions on that controller. That's another thing that I noticed going from Spider-Man and Astrobot back into Yakuza.
Sure.
Is that it just kind of switches back to the generic, like, the controller is shaking.
Yes.
Versus very clearly like, oh no, this part of the controller is kind of shaking a bit because of this. And it's just those, again, it seems like just such a minor tweak to like the whole controller shakes versus it's more heavier on the top right side.
Yes.
Like, it's such a subtle tweak, but like you can really feel it, and I think this shows off so well, especially in the thruster one. I thought did it really well too. Kind of showed off how the controller was shaking, but just that weird little twist on the rumble was so cool, and did such a cool job of just kind of taking that one step further. And that's kind of what this controller feels like. It's just everything one step further.
Yeah, I think the one that was like that was kind of crazy. I know that they were talking about before. There's one where it's like, oh, you're going through a sandstorm and it feels gritty, and I was like, okay, that kind of feels nice. But there's one where you're going through a rainstorm and feeling the pitter patter like in the controller. That felt insane. I was just like, oh, that actually feels like it's like raining in the controller.
Yeah.
I think that was the time when I was like, okay, I'm kind of sold on this. Like, I know Demon Souls does some cool stuff as well with like the controller and that sort of thing. I think this thing that's kind of interesting that I was kind of thinking about was, I'm wondering if the grittiness of the sandstorm is actually the exact same rumble as the pitter patter of the rain. They just contextualize it different, so it feels like, oh, in this portion, this feels like a sandstorm because I'm seeing a sandstorm. Yeah. I'm getting the audio of a sandstorm. But when I see like a soft rain, it feels like a soft rain sort of thing. So
I didn't think about that, like, because I mean, I'm sure it can only do X number of different vibrations and things like that, so I'm sure there is a lot of similarity between those two and what they're doing.
Yeah, but it felt totally different. It felt different, because I was just thinking like,
how much of that is mental and how much is the controller actually doing that work for you?
Yeah. Did you like how do you feel? I really didn't like it in the PlayStation 4, the speaker and the controller, but I think they've done some kind of neat stuff with it. Did you play with just headphones, or did you?
I played with mostly headphones, but I do feel like they definitely at least improved that speaker, if nothing else, because it sounded so bad on the DualShock 4.
Yeah.
This one you can actually kind of make out things a little bit better, but it definitely felt like more was going on with it and it was used a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah, I mean, I played with headphones a lot, so I can't think of anything specific, but I know when I had them on, I was like, oh, that's cool. I thought a couple times when you kind of hear it.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I played Shadowfall, and the first time somebody like gave me my mission through the speaker, I was like, oh no, that's not happening again. Not doing that.
Yeah, and the Wiimote did it before that, and just sounded god awful.
But there's something now about this one where it came to the speaker, I was like, oh, that's nice. I noticed in Demon Souls that when you suck up a soul, it just does like the soul sucking noise, and like that's pretty much the only thing that comes through the controller. But it's like, I think they decided, it's like, okay, let's not have people talking through, but just like little subtle sound effects.
Yes,
really is really neat. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the difference of now knowing, like, hey, let's be subtle about this and not going overkill with it, which I feel like, especially when the PS4 launched, and it was like, oh no, all of your talking is coming out of your really shitty controller speaker. Isn't this great? Yeah. And now let's be subtle. Let's use it to just kind of get you in the experience more so than like, oh yeah, somebody's talking at you. Yeah.
No, exactly. I think it's interesting. Anything that's been iterated on from the PS4, it seems like they've made it more subtle, like, and better. Yeah. I don't know, like I don't even know if the rumble was like really. Everybody's talking about these adaptive triggers, but I think the rumble was the most interesting thing. And like, I don't remember them really talking too much about the HD rumble, because I think they were worried about kind of what happened with Switch, where they're like, oh, it's HD rumble, and it's like kind of feels like a beeper. But this one actually feels like, oh, this is what they meant when Nintendo was saying HD rumble. You can feel the
you can feel that ice cube.
Actually, but this is it. Yeah, the ice skating was insane. I still don't understand how that worked. That felt like you were skating on ice, and I don't get it.
Yeah, and and again, that's going back to those PlayStation 4 games playing Yakuza. It's just like you can feel the difference, especially since you're using the same controller.
Yeah.
You can really tell, like, oh man, there are some way cool things that could be happening right now if it was optimized for this controller. This controller really is doing a lot of work to change the way that I'm feeling about this game.
I think the only thing I don't like about the Rumble is that when you play it on PS4 games, the generic Rumble for PS4 games actually doesn't feel as good as playing them on PS4.
Yep.
Because I think the overall Rumble is probably less strong than the PS4.
Yep.
So, because I was playing Destiny and I was like, it feels okay.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was that, but like in Destiny, it's like kaboosh, kaboosh. You could feel that rumble. But in this one, it's like, it's more of like just a generic turn on all the motors thing that doesn't feel as good, I think, as the PS4 one.
Yeah. And it feels like it's really heavily at the top of the controller.
Yes.
When you're doing the PlayStation 4, it feels like it's really up there, not down actually where your hands are. Mm-hmm. And like, and to your point, like, I feel like I could set a DualShock 4 on a coffee table, and after like 3 gunshots, that thing's on the floor from how much it's shaking. Whereas this, it's like, I don't know, it's just shimmying a bit. That's all it's doing.
Yeah. Which is cool. It's cool. It's just interesting how they're like, okay, let's, instead of shaking the shit out of their hands, we shake it in very nice specific ways.
Should be a little more gentle.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, if you have a PlayStation 5, you have no excuse not to play Astro's PlayRoom, because it's fantastic. And I think you platinumed it. I finished it, all the levels, final boss, which I don't want to talk about the final boss, but it's so cool. Shit. So cool. Dude, so cool.
This game is the deepest of cuts on like everything. I was just like, holy shit.
Yes. So cool. So cool. But I think final boss to me, and I didn't platinum it. I didn't 100% it. And I think I had a decent number of them. I think maybe 3.5, 4 hours to get through it and get a decent number of stuff. You platinumed it, so I mean, probably a lot more. But
yeah, I think probably like 6 hours. I don't know, 6 or 7 hours.
Just a quick short thing. You've got a PlayStation 5 sitting there. You've already played Miles. You've already played Demon's Souls. Give it a shot.
Yeah, it's a good cooldown from Demon's Souls.
I can imagine, but. Anyway, we are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to us wherever you're listening, and we will see you later.
Bye.